welcome to another video, and this is the season finale of my cutting series. Now, a couple of months ago this happened. I am cutting officially as of now. Fast forward 6 weeks and I competed and qualified for the British champs in the weight class I was aiming for. And that means the cut is over. As of now, I am no longer cutting, and that means I can do things like this. So, if you're excited to see me get back to eating loads of crap, give this video a like. Anyway, in today's video I'm going to show you the results of my 6-week cut, so where I started to where I finished, the effect it had on me, and basically how I did it. So, sit back, let's go. Right, before I start, a quick disclaimer. Bear in mind that I was cutting weight for a powerlifting competition, so I was purely aiming to lose weight rather than a traditional cut where you'd be looking to lose body fat. Ultimately, the whole point of a cut is to lose body fat, to look better, or to be more healthy, whereas for me, it was simply a case of getting down to a body weight, and so I employed methods which were kind of designed for like a short-term fix to lose weight, not something I would recommend for the average person. Anyway, let's get on with it. So I started my cut weighing in at 102.3 kilos. Now that was actually slightly light for me. I had been sitting a little bit heavier than that, around the kind of 103 mark, but that was where I was for week 1. From that point, I went on holiday, so for weeks 2 and for week 3 I had no scales. Now I was aware of the fact that I was definitely losing weight, mainly because I was eating a lot less. I was out in the sun all day doing probably more cardio than I would be doing ordinarily. But yeah, by week 3 I was kind of visibly lost weight. I knew I was definitely lighter. By week 4 I was down to 95.3 kilos. So that was the first chance I got to get on the scales for a few weeks, and like I said, 95.3, a pretty dramatic loss. Moving on to week 5, things started to slow down. I got down to 94.9. That's kind of always the case with any kind of drastic weight loss. It's always going to plateau because obviously your metabolism adapts to the lower caloric intake. And then finally, week 6, which is obviously competition week, I weighed in at 92 kilos exactly on the morning of the competition. So that's a pretty drastic loss from week 5 to week 6, following that kind of mini plateau. That was simply because I had to employ fairly extreme measures. Because obviously I had to get down to that weight for the competition, and I was concerned I wasn't going to make it at one point, and I will talk about the methods I employed a little bit later on. So to give you a quick comparison of how I progressed from week 1 to week 6, I'm going to show you right now a slideshow. So this is my 6 weeks put back to back. I think the most obvious change you can see is that my waist definitely shrinks in size. That's personally what I noticed most. I think my face as well. Like, it's funny, people at work and stuff have said to me, oh, your face looks a lot slimmer. I didn't notice it until recently where I looked at a picture of my face. I think it was when I posted about body power, and my face looked really fat, so I definitely think I noticed a difference there. Right, so how did I do it? How did I go about losing that weight in obviously a fairly short space of time? Now, I employed kind of 2 methods predominantly. The first one happened towards the end of my cut, and that was simply cutting out creatine. I've been taking 5 grams of creatine every night for the best part of, I think, 3 years. And so in the last week, when I really had to make sure I got underweight, I stopped taking it completely, and I think that probably contributed to probably like another couple of pounds, because creatine helps you, or kind of makes you retain water, and obviously I lost that when I came off the creatine. The second method, this was obviously the overriding method that helped me lose the weight, was very simply, I ate less food, like I reduced my calories. Now, it sounds so simple, but you would be amazed how many people disregard this fact or don't kind of use it as much as they should. Like, if you are looking to cut, if you are looking to lose weight or to lose body fat, you need to eat less food. Like, so many people start analysing the content of the diet or things like meal timings. It is literally as simple as eating less food. If you eat 3 meals a day, just reduce the size of each of those meals and you'll lose weight. Very simple. After a while, your body will adapt to that and your weight loss will slow down. At that point, you can reduce those a little bit more. You can start doing more exercise. It really is that simple. So that is the method I employed. Now, for me, it was quite easy because I had been eating a huge amount of food before. I spent over a year eating like 6,000 calories a day. So for me to drop my calorie intake was very, very easy. And I didn't even noticeably do it. It wasn't like I was sitting down and forced myself to eat less food. I just basically ate what I wanted. So I spent the entire duration of our holiday just eating what I wanted, when I wanted, and I obviously lost a pretty substantial amount of weight because I did go from that massive calorie intake to obviously a slightly reduced one. Okay, now I'm going to talk about how it affected me and how I felt during the duration of my cut. Right, I'm going to be honest, it really wasn't too bad. Like, The last week sucked. I did say it in my videos, the last week was pretty rubbish because I did have to cut my diet really drastically. Ordinarily wouldn't do that. Ordinarily it would be a nice gradual process, but like I said, I was in a rush. It was a last minute decision to compete, and so that last week was not the best because I was eating very, very little. I think I described it as a diet of a 5-year-old girl, and it really was like I wasn't eating very much, so that did suck. But the previous 5 weeks was honestly okay, and actually, in truth, the first couple of weeks I loved it. Like I was so, when I started my cut, I said it in my early videos, I was so sick of eating. Like I've been force feeding myself so much. If you can imagine every single day force feeding yourself, it really isn't fun after a while. So I really enjoyed the first couple of weeks, that freedom to eat what I wanted, not have to worry about having to eat loads and loads. So that was really nice, and then it kind of just became okay. And then, like I said, by the end it did start to suck, but luckily it was only a shortcut, so it really wasn't too bad. Now, how did it affect my strength? So this is really hard to gauge because at the start of my cut I went away and I had 2.5 weeks where I didn't train at all, so I did lose strength, but it's hard to know how much of that strength loss was down to my cut and how much of it was down to the lack of training. What I can say is that the weight loss definitely affected my bench press. Like, that tends to be the case with me, and I think most people, is that when you lose weight, your bench press really takes a hit, mainly because of the range of movement changes. Obviously, when you get smaller, your chest reduces, and therefore you've got to bring the bar further down. So it's basic mechanics. Lose weight, your bench is going to go down. Squat and deadlift were definitely affected, not like massively, I guess, but again, I think a large part of that was down to the time I had off training rather than the cut itself. I think that as I adapt to this weight and get back into training, my strength will go back to where it was. It's only the bench press where I think it's kind of really going to hit, really take a hit, but I guess only time will tell. And finally, the mental side of things. So I did say, like, there were 2 main reasons for the cut. The first one being to get down to that lower weight class, and the second one being because I needed a break from eating so much food, and I really do think it's helped me out. Like, basically, I got to the point by the end of my bulk where I was feeling sick all the time, like I was physically being sick, where I was eating so much food, and it was getting ridiculous. It was like I wasn't even getting full, it was just my gag reflex. I'd start eating a meal, and if it was like maybe creamy or quite high in fat, my gag reflex would like kick in and I'd start feeling sick when I hadn't even eaten that much. So obviously trying to get 6,000 calories a day was becoming really, really hard. Pretty unenjoyable, and it just kind of took the fun out of food completely. Like, you know, I love food, it's really nice eating good stuff and looking forward to meals, and I wasn't doing that at all. I was literally dreading meals because I was feeling sick and full all the time, and so doing this cut has massively helped me because I'm now back to where I was in the old days, where like I'm excited about food. Like now it gets to dinner and I'm really excited about having something nice. Like it is a kind of a big part of my life that I feel like I've kind of got back now, you know, where I can kind of look forward to food and enjoy food a lot more, so that is nice. Like I do know, I'm sure the novelty will wear off where I get used to eating again, but it was still, you know, I basically reset my mental approach to food, which is what I wanted to do, because like I said, it was getting to a point which was pretty unsustainable. And that is pretty much that. I just thought it would be cool to kind of sum up the series and give you a nice, concise run through from week 1 to week 6 of my cut. So I really hope you enjoyed it, guys. If you have enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up, and I will see you tomorrow.